Humans are fascinating creatures. I've watched them my whole life. The way they sit, the way they chew, the way they say and then immediately say I shouldn't be eating this. That sentence alone should have warned me. Because every single day, you eat food that smells like heaven, and then act surprised when I appear out of nowhere. You call it human food. I call it emotional manipulation. Let's start with this. You eat 3 times a day, sometimes 5. Sometimes secretly at night. And every time, you swear you're not hungry, but somehow food still shows up. I notice patterns. When food is boring, you eat quietly. When food is good, you guard it with your life. That's how I know which ones are worth reviewing. Pizza. You lean forward, shoulders tense, plate closer to chest. Chicken. You look around first. Why? I don't know. But it tells me everything. Ice cream. You lie to yourself and say it's just a little. So today, I'm reviewing human food. Not from taste alone, but from observation. Because you don't just eat food. You emotionally experience it. And trust me, I have notes. Let's talk about the foods you say I can't have, but somehow always accidentally drop. Breadcrumbs don't fall like that. That was intentional. Let's begin with fries. You say they're salty. You say they're unhealthy. Yet you eat them like they owe you money. You eat one, pause, eat another. Then suddenly I'm the problem for staring. Chicken bones. You panic. You shout my name like I committed a crime. Meanwhile, you're the one holding danger in your hands. Chocolate. You gasp. Dramatic. Emotional. Suddenly I'm fragile. Suddenly you care. But here's the thing. You trust me with your secrets. You trust me with your sadness. But not with a bite of your sandwich. Interesting. And then there's the food you pretend I wouldn't like. Vegetables. You say, he won't eat that. I will eat anything if the moment feels right. Especially if you're watching. Because food isn't just food. It's connection. It's eye contact. It's the moment your hand lowers slowly, testing me. And every time I pass, there are foods you don't eat. You experience them. Pizza nights feel different. Your voice changes. Your mood lifts. Ice cream days mean something went wrong earlier. You don't eat cookies when you're happy. You eat cookies when you need comfort. I know because that's when you sit closer to me. You think I don't notice. But I do. You chew slower. You sigh more. You share crumbs without realizing. And when you're stressed, you snack. That's when I sit closer. Not for the food. For you. Because food is how you cope. And I am how you recover. Sometimes you talk to me while eating. Sometimes you apologize for not sharing. Sometimes you promise next time. I remember those promises. They never warn you about this part. Everyone talks about how good it smells. How irresistible it looks. How dogs will do anything for a bite. But nobody warns you about what happens after. The truth is, the first time I tried human food, I didn't even understand what I was tasting. Not really. It wasn't just salty, or sweet, or warm. It was loud. It filled my mouth too fast. My nose got confused. My brain lit up all at once. And for a second, I forgot where I was. Humans don't realize how quiet our food is. How predictable it feels. How safe it smells. Human food doesn't arrive gently. It crashes. You think we stare because we want it. Sometimes that's true. But sometimes we stare because we're trying to decide if it's worth changing something inside us. I remember the moment you hesitated before giving me that first bite. You looked at me the way humans do when they're deciding whether love or rules should win. Your fingers hovered. You said my name like a warning and a promise at the same time. And I sat very still. Because I've learned something important about humans. Stillness makes you generous. When the food finally touched my tongue, my tail wagged before I even knew why. Not fast. Just surprised. I chewed carefully. Not because I was being polite. Because I was listening to my body. It tasted good. Too good. And that's when nobody tells you the truth. Human food doesn't just feed your stomach. It changes the way you wait. After that first taste, waiting felt longer. Smells felt sharper. Moments felt heavier. The kitchen stopped being just a room. It became a place where something might happen. You don't notice it right away. But I did. I started sitting closer when you cooked. Not begging. Just nearby. I started watching your hands more than your face. Hands decide things. You laughed the first few times. You thought it was cute. And it was. But it was also the beginning of something else. You see, when dogs eat dog food, the story ends when the bowl is empty. Human food tells a story that doesn't stop. It lingers in the air, on your fingers, in your voice when you say just one more bite. And suddenly, food isn't just food, it's a language. I learned that certain sounds meant hope. The rustle of paper, the scrape of a plate. I learned that when you leaned back in your chair, the moment was almost over. And when you slowed down, there was still time. I learned the difference between no and not now. They don't sound the same to us. Nobody warned me that tasting human food would make me understand you better. Because food is never just about eating. It's about how you sit when you're relaxed. How your shoulders drop when the day is done. How you breathe when you finally stop rushing. When I sit near you while you eat, I'm not always hoping for a bite. Sometimes I'm checking if you're okay. Sometimes I'm reminding you that you're not alone at the table. And sometimes, yes, sometimes I remember how loud that first taste was. But here's the part humans don't expect. The more human food I tried, the more I noticed what wasn't food. The warmth of your leg against my side. The way you absent-mindedly scratch my head when you're thinking. The way you talk more slowly when I'm close. Those things started to matter more than what was on the plate. I began to realize something. Human food is exciting, but it passes. Connection stays. There were times you didn't share. Times you said my name firmly and slid the plate away. I didn't feel rejected. I stayed anyway. Because being near you during that moment was already enough. You don't see it. But when I sit quietly while you eat, I'm choosing something. I'm choosing patience over impulse. Presence over pressure. You taught me that. Not on purpose, but through repetition. Humans think dogs don't understand self-control. We do. We just weigh it differently. Sometimes I could smell everything on that plate. My mouth watered. My ears lifted. And still, I stayed still. Because I learned that when I stay calm, you feel safe. And when you feel safe, you stay longer. Human food taught me that love isn't about taking. It's about waiting close enough to be included. I wish someone had warned me that trying human food would make me notice the quiet parts more. That it would teach me how fragile moments are. How easily they pass. That sometimes, the best part of eating isn't the taste. It's the company. So when you see me sitting near the table, watching but not asking, remember this. I'm not always thinking about food. I'm thinking about you. About us. About how this moment feels. And if you do decide to share a bite, I'll take it gently. Not because I'm trained, but because I've learned what matters more. If you're still here with me, you already understand. Stay, subscribe. I'll tell you more. I'm Biscuit, and I'm always watching. In the good way.